Welcome to the Infrared Renaissance. Welcome to the Infrared Renaissance. Welcome, everybody, to the Infrared Renaissance. Welcome to the headquarters of the revolution of our time. The Infrared Renaissance. We're seeing beyond the visible spectrum. Infrared is rising. We are on the come up. The energy is high. I told you all to trust the plan. Just in the past weekend alone, we saw an explosion. We back in the discourse. We back on top. We back rising. We're back on the spotlight. We mobilize to get this shit through. We mobilize to get ourselves back into the game. All the Sun Gorillas marching 24/7 on the clock. I've been buried. Rabbi here with the 5. What's up? I've been buried in writing the esoteric tomes, proving the speculative identity, the truth. Marxism is Islam. Submit to necessity. It's very, very simple. I could talk more about it on stream. I've been buried in the tomes, buried in the books, getting that shit done. I'm writing it just for the love of the game. I ain't doing it for money. I could just sell that shit paperback, $50. I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be free. I don't give a fuck. That thing that I'm writing, it became more than 10K words. It's for free. Don't worry. I'm gonna just give it to y'all, distribute it to the world. Everybody needs to hear this shit. I just want to talk about something. Since the last time I saw you, I gave you some infrared vision insight about what the fuck is going on in the country, right? Not one day later, within 24 hours, Donald fucking Trump confirmed exactly what I fucking said. He confirmed exactly what I fucking said, okay? Down to the fact that the Democrats are too afraid to fucking do anything, right? To stop this new momentum. Truth Social. I'll show it to you directly. He made a long post on Truth Social talking about how the Democrats are not doing anything. I told y'all, I don't bullshit, I don't lie. You didn't see the vision. You didn't see the vision, now did you? That was a mistake. That was a mistake. For some of you thought, oh, Haas, you're wrong. This is just a psyop. I'm telling you, Hassan Piker is doing Prigozhin's rebellion right now on the Democratic Party, and it's a rogue thing. The communists are finally making their move. I've been waiting and preparing for this for a long time. It's easy to be a commie, whatever. Over thousands of years, idiot, whatever. The game is on. Enjoy watching. Now Trump, he's doing this. I'll tell you exactly why he's saying this shit. He knows the Democrats aren't going to do a thing. He's aware that all the energy and the momentum is with the Zoran thing, with the DSA right now. And Trump, what did he say? The game is on. Literally, this is Hassan Piker's mutiny on the Democratic Party. Trump is watching it, and he's hoping that this is going to be his saving grace in the come up to the midterms. That's what Trump is banking on. He's banking on the idea that for the midterms, this is going to be the thing he's going to be able to count on, okay? That he's going to call them communists. He's going to lean on the communism thing. And that's how he's going to defeat the Democrats, put pressure on them to get rid of the Democratic Socialists in their ranks and do that purge at the expense of potentially harming their prospects and their chances in the midterms. And Trump knows that. That's why Trump is going to lean on the attack on communism very, very aggressively and strongly. And he's going to use that AstroTurf bullshit on X that said the Bolsheviks killed 10 trillion Christians. And it puts the Democrats between a rock and a hard place. And granted, you guys have to trust my judgment. Hassan Piker, granted, he knows what he's doing. He's leveraging that. He's playing that game. He knows the Democrats can't do anything. Hassan Piker's making his move. Zoran and Hassan, they're working together with the DSA, and they are actually starting to defy the Democratic leadership, Democratic establishment. And the game is on, like Trump said. The DSA is going to fail. They're going to explode. We're going to reap the rewards. American Communist Party is up, on the come up. Don't you forget it. Tipo with the 8. Tipo with the 8.
They want to restart the war on Christians and churches.
What?
And as you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social.
The war on Christians. I'm so fucking sick of hearing this shit. For the 30 years that I've been in this country, I've been hearing nonstop about a war on Christians. America's a Christian country. What do you mean a war on Christians? You need to understand how retarded this sounds from someone who is not born in a Christian family. How retarded these evangelicals sound. I do not come from a religious Christian family. So when I look around in America, everyone's Christian to me. Like, this is a Christian country. That's just how it is. That's how I see it. Why do I see these evangelical retards randomly talking about how there's a war on Christians? What do you mean everyone's a Christian already? Unless you're talking about the Jews, which I don't think you are. Unless you're talking about the Jews, who are you like talking about? Maybe I'm too sectarian. Maybe I don't get it. In Lebanon, you come from a sect. You're Christian, you're Muslim, you're something else. I see America as a Christian country. So when I hear this self-persecuting retardation all the time about there's a war on Christians, Christians are under attack. Bruh, by who? Everyone's Christian already here. Even liberals are Christian. There's cultural Christianity. Like, what do you mean this, like, there's an attack on Christians? What does that even mean? What are you talking about?
Democrats.
It's the biggest scam in the world that these con artists pull. I've seen it for just about the 30 years that I've been in this country. I've seen it. I just keep hearing this retarded thing. Doesn't make any sense. If you're talking about the Jews or something, okay, it's a little spicy. But these people are not even talking about that. So what the fuck are you talking about? Who is the people persecuting Christians? Who?
They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. There will be no nothing. You'll be a third world inhabitant in every way, and everyone will suffer or die. You'll suffer or die. That's what happens. For thousands of years, it's been happening by different names.
You see?
Thousands of years.
He said he knows the truth. It's been happening for thousands of years by different names. Guess who agrees with me on this? Trump does. He agrees it's been happening for thousands of years under different names. That's what I've been saying. He's just spelling out the self-evident truth right there.
Years. I'm telling you, I'd be the greatest communist in history. It would be so easy. You wouldn't have to work. You could stay home.
You need to appreciate every meme I breathed into existence was rooted in some grain of truth. MAGA communism, it just takes off, becomes a life of its own. Now the Marxism equals Islam thing, that's going to explode. And it's a full frontal assault on all the Islamic LARPers and all of the new atheist Reddit Marxists. I'm declaring war on both of those. And it's like, this is going to be explosive. Already, my brothers in Turkey are supporting me. All I see in my replies, it's all Turkish communists supporting me. The Turkish army has my back on this full frontal assault on Gulf Islam and the understanding that Marxism is Islam. Not simply compatible, it is that. The final revelation on earth. Marxism is Islam, right? So, just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. I'll talk about it.
The problem is a couple of years go by, the whole place collapses. Always does. Always has. But I'm sorry to say, but assassinations of those who oppose them is a very important element of their ideology. Assassination's a big deal for them. They're animals. They're animals. In many cases, they're not smart, but in some cases, they are.
He's talking about me there.
It's easy for them to get followers because They make promises that they know they can't keep.
Like what? That I'll stream on time? All right. That's what he's talking about, by the way. He's talking about that I'm going to start streaming at 6 p.m. He's talking about that one. All right. And that's a really vicious attack from Trump. It's totally out of context, totally unjustified.
And the Democrats aren't fighting back. That's why they're dumb. They're not fighting back. They're afraid. I watch Schumer. He's afraid to fight. I watch guys that are pretty.
See how what he's saying lines up exactly with what I fucking told you the last stream. He understands the situation. That's how you know Trump is at least a little smart. He's perceptive. I made the same analysis. He made the same analysis. The reason the Democratic establishment isn't cracking down on this isn't because they support it. They don't. It's because they have no fucking choice. They're too weak. They're too old. And they're too fucking scared. That's the truth. I made the same analysis. Some of y'all still think that it's all Democrat psyop. No, the Democrats are too retarded to pull off a psyop like that. Trust me.
Normal. And guys that we oppose, they're afraid to fight. The Democrats have taken a tremendous turn left. And many of these people, I looked at some of the people that got elected the other night in New York. These are in many ways stupid people, in some ways, and intellectually probably pretty smart, but they're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is.
You see, he's understanding. He gets it. There's a Hassan Piker mutiny against the Democratic Party, and he is perceptive enough to see that this energy that's coming from the Zoran DSA thing, that's not a Democrat psyop. That is a rogue, professional petty bourgeois rebellion. And he's seeing that's like a brand new thing. And we fucking benefit from it. Don't be retarded. We benefit from it. Okay? We benefit from this shit. They are finally making their move to distinguish themselves from the Democratic Party. Bernie wouldn't do it. AOC wouldn't do it. For some reason, I have to say, I've underestimated Zohran Mamdani in some sense. I'll tell you, God honest, my understanding, my character assessment, my knee-jerk character assessment of Zohran Mamdani was that he's just a scammer who wants to climb his way to the top of the Democratic Party. That could still be true. He gives me those vibes. But then I read a physiognomy analysis of Zohran on YouTube, and he's like, you have to divide Zohran's face into two parts. Yes, there's one face where he's smiling all the time and shit, but it's inauthentic and fake. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But then he's like, the other side of his face is a very vengeful, hateful person who wants to hide his intentions, but he like actually plans on doing something very severe and dramatic. And then I thought, interesting. But now I'm seeing Zohran's going rogue, promoting these people to unseat mainstream Democrats. What is my YouTube homepage? Oh no, is there some bullshit going on my YouTube again? I remember I got hacked before. Bro, fuck you. There's nothing wrong with my YouTube homepage. Are you retarded? Why are you talking nonsense? All right. Fuck are you talking about?
Trouble. Because this isn't stopping with New York. This is going all. It's too easy to get elected. Giving everything away. Too easy to get elected. Very dangerous. But you'll soon have nothing left. That's the problem. In many ways, they're allowing them to just go their own way, do your own.
But anyway, by the way, on Zohran Mamdani is, I don't like him. I'll never like him. And I'm not saying, oh, kudos, whatever. I'm just saying, like, Zohran has bigger plans than I thought. That's what I'm saying. The sense in which I underestimate, like, he has bigger plans than I thought. Clearly he does. He has bigger plans than I thought. And it's a full-scale rebellion against the Democratic Party, which will fail. For reasons we understand it will. SYJ, what's up? And then you guys are asking, well, why don't the DSA, why don't they just become a third party then? No, because they're doing something really sneaky, okay? they are using, like, it's Piker. Piker, he's commanding this maneuvering to basically unseat Democrat incumbents and stay in the Democratic Party to be on the ticket, to potentially get the voter rolls, to get the funding, but it's like a rogue strain that is at odds with the Democratic establishment. DSA were the water boys for the Democrats. For the past 10 years, that's what they've been. But now the Democrats have no direction. They have no vision. They're very weak at the top, as Trump observes. And now the DSA is bum rushing a takeover of some kind. They're trying a rebellion. They're trying a takeover. And what we have to understand, guys, is the Overton window is being pushed. Let's not delude ourselves. Normies around the entire country are talking about Zoran. They're interested in this new zeitgeist. We see it for what it is. We know that they're Zionists. We know that they're bullshitters. We know that they're weak. But honest to God, you want to know how I think, and I want you to trust my infrared vision. It's like you got these Barney the dinosaur retard socialists, right? They're literally naive retards, by the way. They don't know what they're cooking up. They're going to keep going like this. They have no idea that at the end of the tunnel, it's a Haz al-Din. They have no idea that what they're doing, they're empowering guys like me, crazy fucks like me. They have no idea what they're going to be unleashing if they continue down this trajectory. The DSA types, the Zoran types, they're going to keep going down this trajectory, and they're going to regret it eventually, because the polarization is going to get to a point eventually. The more the left distinguishes itself from the Democrats, eventually at the end of the line, it's crazy fucks like me that are waiting at the end of the tunnel. That's honest to God, that's the truth. We benefit, infrared, ACP, like we are the beneficiaries. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Think about the Overton window and how it fucking works. Yeah, you're going to go from democratic socialists. It's not going to be long till they just start going, what about communism? Now that we've accepted this is the center, what about communism? May as well go all the way. Like, that's a real fucking trajectory. That's the Overton window, right? That's how it fucking works. I'm not going to sit here and be a retard and not benefit from this shit. I'll be letting y'all down if I don't make sure we're going to benefit from this shit. There's a lot of energy in this country now. People are changing their attitudes even to the word socialism. We need to get our foot in the door. Communism. We're going to be there when the DSA fails. When the DSA fails, we're going to be there. We have to have already been there. Yellowstone with the 5. It's not that we're going to be there. It's not that we're going to be there. It's that we have to have already been there. As I told you last stream, we have to have been already there. And at that point, we are going to get turbocharged by this shit. Prepare for a giant windfall. ACP's already been going viral just today alone. As Eddie came to Michigan, I've been buried in my scholarly philosopher stone shit with my beard, with my whatever. I haven't even showered. I've been buried in my tomes, my texts. I couldn't really hang out with Eddie all that much, honestly. But don't worry. But Eddie posted the greenhouse. It's going viral. Everyone's fucking talking about it. Everyone's talking about the beekeeping thing. We are in the discourse. Everybody's talking about us. I just saw I went viral again. I've been irrelevant, man. But now I went viral. One of those millennial retard leftists, I'm back in the discourse. They got, like 6,000 likes. I'm back, bitch. This shit is working again. Infrared renaissance in this shit. That post that I just made, Marxism is Islam. Oh my God, there's all like 150 quote tweets. This is the infrared renaissance. It's so easy. I never remembered how easy it was. You tap into exactly the things that just make everything explode. And we're fucking back. All right. We are back. And I'm bum rushing my way back into the discourse. These DSA types, I want to tell you something. Every step of the way of the growth of the DSA, they got to be seeing me. They got to be seeing this globe. They got to be seeing ACP. It needs to be put front and center at them. Every new person that joins the DSA is going to be confronted with us. because they're going to be like, I'm going to go research that and look it up on my own. Oh, this DSA thing is interesting, but it's a little fucking boring and cringe. You know how many infrared gorillas are out there? Help the gorillas find us. Help your fellow gorillas find us. There's a lot of them out there that are being put into the DSA pipeline now. We have to take that pipeline, all right? And a lot of them are normies. They're cool people. That's the type of energy we have to have, okay? The country is going left wing. It's a left-wing direction in this country. That's the zeitgeist. The nation is going left. And I did predict that would happen. I did predict that would happen 2 years ago. That's what I predicted. I said the left is going to be on the come up, and it's going to be a political realignment, okay? We, ACP, American Communist Party, our membership needs to fucking double, okay, quickly. And you know from there it's exponential growth. Infrared Instagram needs to get at minimum 20,000 followers. Infrared YouTube at minimum needs to get to 100,000. You understand? Infrared TikTok needs to be getting to at minimum 15,000. Okay? These are modest goals. These are modest goals. Maybe I'll even go so far as to say goals that I want by the end of the year. Maybe I'll set my, maybe, I won't commit to it yet. Maybe we'll say by the end of the year, that's the fucking goal that we want. This shit's got to explode and take off because this is the thing that's going to absorb all the energy, hype, and momentum. We are on the fucking come up. Do you understand? And you got to be retarded. You got to be retarded not to see how we're going to benefit.
We don't want to take a chance on saying anything bad because we're afraid we're going to lose our jobs if we do. They're afraid they're going to lose their election if they even think about saying anything bad about this new breed of...
This is Trump trying to divide the Democratic Party. It might be successful. It might not make a difference. But I just want to tell you what he's saying. It's no joke. Communism is the greatest threat to our country since World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or 9/11. You know what's funny about this shit? Usually when you say the greatest threat since something, you just say like since 9/11. How can it be since World War I, II, Pearl Harbor, and 9/11? Am I discombobulating? Like, when was the last time our country had a greatest threat? It was 9/11. So how can you say World War I, World War II? You could say it's a greater threat than all of these things, but why is he saying since? That this is the only since is 9/11. You can't say since world because you're saying 9/11 was which was the greatest threat? Well, I don't know. Grammatically, I don't know. I'm not here to police grammar. It's just kind of fucking retarded. A little bit retarded, right? We have a lot of, ACP's been being controversial. A lot of controversy going on because ACP Oklahoma is keeping bees. They're just keeping bees. And they're talking about the dual power strategy, which is absolutely correct. And let's check the quote tweets. Surely no one's upset about beekeeping. In real life, dual power more so involved machine guns and you call us LARPers, you fucking retard. Things like political dual power require material economic foundations. And sorry, we can't stomach our pride and sacrifice our sovereignty to get all of our funding from Soros, NGOs, and shit. By the way, this is not even a monetized thing going on with these bees. It's literally just the basics of having some root in your community, some good reputation in your community, so that in the process of attempting to build something like dual power, you're going to be a trustworthy. Like, why do I have to explain shit to retards, right? This isn't dual power. This is LARPing as petty bourgeois farmers. You're just retarded. You're just fucking retarded. First of all, they didn't even say anything that this is monetized. Second of all, nobody's claiming this is the final realization of dual power. It is a step in the direction of dual power, absolutely. Does it contribute to building dual power? Yes, it fucking does. However small that contribution is, of course it does. When the fucking central government is no longer relied on, or it breaks down, or it becomes fully discredited somehow, people are going to look for alternative ways to fucking organize their lives, get food, and fucking have an authority to look to. A step in the direction of preparing the foundations for something like that is shit like keeping bees. I mean, what are we saying? What are we talking about here? This is a lot of quote tweets for beekeeping. That's pretty crazy. This is a lot of beekeeping quote tweets. A lot of quote tweets for beekeeping. Okay. These are pretty minuscule. Is there anything large? Is there a large response of some kind? No. Apparently not. Okay. Okay, I guess that's it. I guess there was no other quote tweet of this post, you know? What can we say? So that's that. And then look, this is another funny one.
Party.
So Eddie visited the Michigan greenhouse. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'll show it to you. And there's a meltdown in the quote tweets about this, which is quite interesting. But let's watch it.
Today, the American Communist Party, Illinois, and Iowa chapter are in Michigan, helping them out with our party greenhouse. Let's check this place out. It's pretty sick. This entire property belongs to the party, so we got 100% sovereignty. Here we got the little lobby area where a lot of work is being done. This area is going to be turned into a cafe. You can see we got all the most based flags on the wall. Got these uniforms that were created and embroidered here by the members. Got every color of hat that you could possibly want. Here's where that work was done. We got embroidery machines. We've got a 3D printer with octopus linen. Amazing things are happening here. We're working on installing a gym so everybody can get jacked. Got a couple bathrooms that are being installed here. Still working on clearing out all the crap that the previous owners left. Here we got a little garage that we're going to turn into a mechanic shop where we can work on engines and other things like that. And then out here, of course, we have the greenhouse where there's a whole bunch of land that we can use to grow food, community garden type thing. This is also owned by the party, recently acquired. There's a whole bunch of land here, and this is what we were working on today, clearing this out so that we can start growing some food. So this is the kind of stuff we're working on here at the American Communist Party. No offense to other leftist organizations, but I don't know if anyone else is doing stuff like this. If you want to get involved and help us transform this place into something amazing, you can check us out at acp.us. You will not regret it. We got amazing things going on here, folks. Also, check out these new shirts we got. This is great. If this flag offends you, I'll help you pack.
No, he's out of the National Guard. He said he was going to...
Okay, so it's like, okay, I mean, just like, surely nobody could take issue with this, right? Oh, look at one of these 2020 snarky Simpsons East Coast. Should I go there? Should I go there? One of these snarky millennial East Coast 2020 socialists. I'm a democratic socialist. Should I go there? I mean, I don't know. Because I feel bad. It may not even be true. But there's just a certain gatekeeping archetype that I can't forget about from when I was first on Twitter 2021. I can't forget about it. I can't forget about it. You know? These people that are like, I have just typed in lowercase. I'm so beyond anything. You're like fucking 35 years old. You're like 40 years old. Get off fucking Twitter. What are you fucking doing? These cool people, these Chapo, whatever, Chapo Trap House. These are the cool guys. These are the cool kids. They have Simpsons gifts. You're 35! Stop this pretension. Stop this pretentiousness. You're not a gatekeeper of anything. You're fucking lame as fuck. You're not You're not what you think you're trying to exude. It's not working. It's not happening. And but what do they say? I like how they're just doing Hammer City again, but for white people. You know, but I was going to, well, I was just going to say kill yourself, but that's actually what I wanted to say. Just kill yourself. Like, you're literally an irredeemable fucking retard. You should just kill yourself straight up. Like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say to such like a weird, like completely off the chart, like devoid of any reality type of thing to say? Just kill yourself. Like, what do you want me to say? Sorry, it's like, what a stupid thing to say. It's Hammer City again, but for white people. How? Who's moving into this greenhouse? Who's moving into it? How is this Hammer? What are you talking about? It's a greenhouse. It's a building that we're going to have that's going to be open to anyone who wants to visit it and hang out there. Like what? Like what do you what I don't understand how this is a cult compound or something. Where's this even coming from? Oh, because political extremists have acquired a building. Okay. That's Hammer City, sure. I was waiting for India. Just kill yourself. Just end it. Just trust me, there's no reason to keep going. Just end it all. That's the extent of my patience with this type of shit. I'm not gonna lie. That's the extent of the patience that I've accumulated and I've started to acquire with these types of people. Sorry. How is ACP buying a building before DSA? Because we're an actual fucking party. That's why. Because we're not a fucking nebulous networking club for people that vaguely will agree that they're okay with socialism. Wow. Free healthcare. Wow. Because we're an actual organized party. What do you mean? How would you buy a building? You don't even have... You would, like, fight and argue over, like, so many stupid things we don't care about. You'd be like, no, we're not going to do this building because it's transphobic, because bricks are transphobic. It's like, you can't even, like, agree on anything, really, besides electing... It takes you guys, like, 10 years to agree on anything, honestly. It's like, I'm sorry, but... how are you going to be able to have the dynamism to be like a party, to be like anything that can do something like with discipline, coherence? And I mean, we're saying this because we're decentralized in a lot of ways, and this is Michigan chapter mainly, right? But at the same time, we're just a chill party that's like, yo, you want to go open a greenhouse? Fine. But the DSA is like a social club of, I mean, what are they going to do? How are you going to have a building? How are you going to agree upon how to run it and all these other kinds of things? Like, you're just not, right? We tend to be very easygoing and chill about these things, right? But they're not. ACP's big, just every time there's something cool that we do, I hear another biggest accomplishment. So yeah, I don't know. LARP. Yeah, flags. Yeah, because there's flags. Yeah, don't pay no attention to the fact there's actually like construction going on. Pay no attention to the fact like there's actually like motion here. Because there's flags, it's LARP. All right, all right. Let's just keep scrolling until we see something big. ACP bought a cafe. What? To exploit their party workers for minimum? Holy reach. Halo reach. Oh, this person's on a furry. That explains it. This person like sees and hears voices and shit. They're like straight up mentally disabled. We're opening a coffee shop now, and we're gonna have minimum. This is news to me, chairman of the party. Like what? What do you mean? Because Eddie said that there's a cafe. So you go to someone's house and you grab a beer in the fridge or something. Is that like a business now? What are you talking about? Minimum. We're gonna pay him minimum wage. What do you mean? This is something owned by the Michigan chapter. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is crazy. All right. I don't know. Project, what's up? I want to entertain you guys by pretending to be outraged by shit I don't care about, but come on, Anyway, this smart person from the 2020s, another smart millennial. Remember when I was talking to that libtard on TikTok? Truth. The truth is very simple. You describe oppression in this meticulous way. Right. We're all represent. This is an insult to people who really do suffer oppression. Because for those who suffer oppression, there is one thing and one thing only that weighs over them. Only one thing. A Palestinian, there's one thing weighing over them, and they wage war on this thing. That thing is the occupation entity. There's no meticulous representation. That's gibberish for people who suffer oppression. For people who suffer oppression, the thing that's oppressing them is clear and present and in front of them, and they can name it, and they can refer to it, and they can have a plan and an understanding of what needs to be done to overthrow it. They don't have to play 21 questions naming off all of these meticulous nonsense things like therapy and training in order to understand what's at stake in the liberation of both themselves and the people they live with. What you're describing is not oppression. It's a managerial problem for HR departments to make bourgeois professionals feel more comfortable being in the adult daycares that they're in. That's what you're talking about. Or, God forbid, members of the bourgeoisie and their various disgusting, filthy bourgeois country clubs having a mutual understanding so there's no misunderstandings. So the white guy doesn't misunderstand the fact that the black guy next to him is his fellow class brethren and doesn't mistake him for a filthy proletarian. So that's just facts. It's just 100% facts. And the reason you're seeing this reaction by PMC, urbanoid, libtard, fucking glasses-wearing pieces of shit is because it cuts deep. When they fucking hear this shit, it's like a bomb has been dropped on them that they feel viscerally. They feel that viscerally. Like, I'm fucking useless, and I have no understanding of oppression, and I am a fucking glasses-wearing parasite in the country that I live in, that will never have any relationship to an authentic revolutionary struggle. So how does Liv Agar respond to how they were made to feel by this video, which was a bomb dropped on them? Well, we do need to educate people. You're saying the proletariat doesn't need educating. What are you fucking talking about? What are you even fucking talking about? First of all, there's so many prongs of this retardation here. Prong one, how can you equivocate the education of the proletariat with intersectional HR management and all this nonsense about taking therapy classes and shit? What do you mean? What does that have to do with educating the proletariat? Nothing. Second of all, if you mean to say that I'm claiming the proletariat doesn't need to be educated about the fact that it's being oppressed, consider me fucking guilty as charged. The fucking oppressed people don't need to be told that they're oppressed. They know they're being oppressed, and I'll even fucking drop another nuke. They know who is oppressing them. You think workers don't fucking know that their companies and the government oppresses them? Of course they fucking know that. You're a retard if they need to be told. If you need to be told you're oppressed, you're not fucking oppressed. End of fucking story. So you begs the question, then why does the proletariat not spontaneously effect or enact a revolution? I'll tell you why. It's really, really simple. They're not missing education about the fact that they're oppressed. They're missing hope. They understand all of these things. They just think there's nothing that can be fucking done about it. That's the reason that oppressed people are passive or sometimes even participate in their own oppression. Because they're fucking blackpilled. They don't think there's anything that can be done about it. The fuck's going to be done about it? Especially they don't think something will be done about it if they're being told about intersectional gibber babble. What can be fucking done? You think people don't know how? You think people are so stupid because you're a Zionist. You're a Jewish supremacist who sees the majority of the masses as retarded goyim. I'm going to fucking go there. These are a bunch of Jewish supremacists leftist Marxist gatekeepers, quote unquote Marxists, they're not Marxists, they're Jewish supremacists who see the proletariat and the masses as retarded goyim. The proletariat is much smarter than you think. They see everything. What they don't, the missing puzzle piece they don't have is what the fuck can be done about it. Most of them think nothing can be done about it. That's just how the world is. Most of them think that's just the way things fucking go. That doesn't mean they don't know that they're being oppressed. It means they don't have any fucking hope. And that's the truth. Most people know that it's the U.S. regime that oppresses them. Most people know that the fucking companies they're working for are fucking them over and oppressing them. Of course they fucking know that. You think they need a Marxist to educate them about the shit they fucking see and feel and know every fucking day? They don't. What they need is leadership. They need leadership. They need to be led by people who know what the fuck they're doing and have an understanding of what the fucking way forward is. Dad, boy, what's up? Appreciate you. When you have leadership, when you have people who know and understand, you have a strategic vision about what can be fucking done, it's not hard for people that are oppressed to follow it. It's not hard for them to follow suit. Like, did the Bolsheviks educate the masses before the revolution? No! If they did, it was a small minority of the masses. The truth is, the people educated in Marxism were in the Bolshevik Party. 99.99% of the masses before the October Revolution, they had no fucking clue what Marxism was. That was something the cadre understood in the party. That's why there's a class cadre distinction. The Bolsheviks provided the answers in the leadership about what to fucking do. What to fucking do. Nobody needed to be taught that the Tsar was oppressing them. Nobody needed to be taught that the Kerensky provisional government was oppressing them. Nobody needed to be fucking taught that. They knew it. It was the Bolsheviks that had a fucking strategy. They had a strategy for how to go forward. And that's why people rallied behind the Bolsheviks, who said peace, land, and bread. Of course, the proletariat needs to be educated by the logic of struggle. But people who are oppressed know that they're being oppressed and can name who's oppressing them. If they're put in a discursive context in which it is possible that they can have the opportunity to even think about what they're oppressed, of course they fucking know what it is. How 5.5 thousand real people like this? That's fine. I think there's at minimum 15 million petty bourgeois intelligentsia in the world. 15 million who are not going to make it. But at minimum, there's probably 15 million bourgeois intelligentsia in the world who not only are mentally retarded and can be written off entirely, but objectively speaking, if there's a world revolution and the collapse of the American empire, at minimum, that amount of people will have no place in the future. Is that crazy for me to say? Or maybe it's too much, 15? It's at least 1 million. So 5.5 thousand people being mentally retarded doesn't bother me because it's not even close to the amount of people who I will write off globally as irredeemable. Not me, only God can do that. But I will accept God's judgment. If God decides that, this amount of people just have no place in the future of the revolution. They're counter-revolutionaries. They're reactionaries. They're petty bourgeois gatekeepers, pretending to be Marxists, but in reality, trying to make themselves feel more useful than they are. Have we been bereft of academic institutions educating people in my Marxism? Go to any college right now. No, just go to any. Keep the stream open, get on your bicycle, and go visit a fucking college. Are they not talking about Marx enough in the colleges? For how many years have they been talking about Marx in colleges? Tell me. Where's the results? Where's the results? All these educated people that are so smart with glasses, that know everything about Marxism, that know about Marx. What? Well, how? What? We have a nothing sandwich. They're cooking in the kitchen, and they came out with a nothing sandwich. And you're saying the proletariat doesn't need educating. I am absolutely saying that people who are oppressed absolutely are not confused whatsoever about the fact that they are oppressed. And it is not hard. Notice the fucking bad faith. Because even if people who are oppressed genuinely have no fucking clue how they're being oppressed or who's doing it, let's say I'll grant that's possible. Once you tell them, it's not hard for them to understand. And when I was debating this intersectional whatever, it was very, very hard for them to explain to me what oppression is and what are examples of oppression. But people who are actually oppressed, somehow, if you can at least help them a tiny bit, just give them a hint, they get it. It's like this. They get it. Go tell a Palestinian. Maybe a Palestinian might be confused about who's oppressing them. Okay, tell them it's Israel. Just like that. So much of everything would be making sense in their life. Just, it's Israel. Okay, I go and I talk to people in America, the fucking government. Of course we know the government oppresses us. Okay, these shitty, disgusting fucking companies and banks and all these things people fucking deal with on a daily basis. Yes? Go ask a black person in the hood if the police don't oppress them. Or who's oppressing you? You think they don't know? You need to go educate them that the police oppress them? Black people in the hood are waiting for Liv Agar to come to them and explain to them that the police oppress them. They don't know that yet. They're confused about it. They have no idea. They have to wait for Liv to come and explain to them their oppression. Look, Marxists play a role in having a strategic vision, in understanding the mechanisms, right? The details of how it works. But that doesn't mean Marxists are the ones creating the very cause of the liberation from oppression. No, they're not. Marxists are not the ones that are creating the context. They're not the ones who are giving people a fucking reason to want to fight oppression. People already want this. People already know that they're oppressed. They just don't have hope. They don't have faith. They don't have hope. This is an insult. People who are really oppressed, educated. You always have to read between the fine lines because there's nothing about what I said that doesn't fucking make sense to 99% of people in good faith. Read between the lines what they mean by education. They mean you need to go and put them through courses that explain to them how when they fart, every fart they have is a microaggression on transgender Eskimos. Every fart that they've ever done is disabled people have been blown up because of their feelings were hurt when they, you know, I don't know, when they aggressively opened the door as a show of strength. It made people who are disabled feel bad about their lack of ability to open doors. We need to educate. If you have to listen to the debate. You have to listen to the debate I was in. 5.5 thousand people. You're coping. You're coping. You're coping. What do we call this in a debate? What do you call it, by the way, when people cope in this way, where I say, your retarded idea that people need to be initiated into intersectional fucking meticulous nonsense, when for people who are actually oppressed, it's actually much simpler than that. And then they go, oh, you're saying they don't need any education at all. Okay, you're trying to make me sound unreasonable because you're coping with the fact that I'm confronting you with how retarded your position is. Simple as that. That's what I'm doing. I'm just educating the proletariat. No, that's what I'm doing. When I'm telling people they can't fucking clap and they have to do the jazz hands, that's me educating the proletariat. I'm here to educate you about your oppression. I'm here to educate you about your oppression. Okay? I mean, no, because you don't understand. No, because you don't understand. You really don't understand. That's the truth. You don't understand your oppression. You need to understand that Fuck. I was gonna do a bit from last night that I thought of. I'm trying to fucking remember it. I was in the car last night. I just thought it to myself. I was like, this would be hilarious. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Trying to think. I was gonna cook with something. What car do bro? Fuck off. Fuck you talking about? I drive a fucking Bugatti because of all the fucking support you guys show me. Should have wrote it down. No, it was more like a vibe. I was just like putting myself in the shoes of these people, and it's like the problem with that is, but before we could do the class struggle, we have to think about the ways in which the trans disabled folks are being negligent toward the HR procedures of properly doing the right thing, because you have to understand the dynamics and the systems of oppression. There's many dynamic systems of oppression that all intersect with one another. The various intersecting dynamics of oppression that are a consequence of the structural consequences of the structural reality of the forced patriarchal cis heteronormative realities and structures that in everyday life, when people are walking around, they don't see it, but it's actually there. When you're actually woke, you can see it. What's actually going on is that the black transgender people of color who are also Mexican, they're also disabled, and you need to understand that they're being oppressed because they're not being adequately represented in the latest Netflix special about Martin Luther King Jr., who is actually a transgender Eskimo. And what you have to understand is that in the biography of King Arthur, we need to make King Arthur a fat person. We have to make a fat woman King Arthur, a fat black woman, actually. Subterranean, what's up? The latest Netflix special, we need more representation so people that can unlearn and deconstruct the constructs in their head about the various cis... honestly, that wasn't even what I was talking about, though. Last night was something else. Might not even be related to this. What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? Okay, last bit of X review, Twitter review on the Twitter. The last part of the Twitter review will be... It was not related to Liv Agar. Now I remember what I was so triggered about last night. I remember what I was triggered by. And I was in the car, and I was like, this would sound funny. I'm not even going to draw attention to it. I got into a fucking argument with someone about, like, Marxist theory, and it was really, there's a specific type of European Marxist academic that is really triggering to me, because they're, like, all have in common this, like, I don't know, it's just, like, neo-Kantian framework of Marxism. And it triggers me. It does bother me. That's what it was. I remember now. I remember exactly. It has nothing to do with it wasn't like a woke thing. It wasn't about woke people. It was something very different. It's like, that's the classic European academic Marxist. Like, we need to comprehend the proper ethical, political commitments that go in. I was doing an accent, maybe. That go into the necessity of a shared Marxist framework of understanding that how we're going to proceed on the principles of a collective organization. It requires a very specific, meticulous, ethical, political framework based on a shared understanding of the structural principles that are rooted in the ultimately rooted in the principles of ethical reason. And we have to understand that in order to partake in the revolutionary struggle, we first must be accountable to the transparent rational principles that go into the ethical, political, legal consequences of a very specific trajectory within Western civilization that comes from the very specific structures and understanding of the democratic, yes, but also Republican frameworks that are a consequence of a contractual obligation and a set of shared discursive frameworks, a shared semiotic and discursive framework in which we understand the necessity of the shared ethical, political foundations and commitments that are a consequence of being in a common institution. And the institution has both obligations and also grants of certain rights. And this is a specific ethical, political, Greco-Roman lineage that is a draw upon from Western civilization, which we as Marxists must, of course, accept and understand. a very specific trajectory within the development of history, which is a consequence of the reality that in order for having a revolutionary struggle, we must be very clear about the principles of socialism in terms of a shared linguistic, discursive, ethical, political, moral framework that creates the conditions of the justification for why. And I was triggered as fuck last night about it because I was just so fucking exhausted because I wanted to just focus on finishing the Islam thing and I fucking couldn't. I was just fucking like, I was just triggered. I was not in a good mood. I hate European academic Marxists. I just can't. I'm an Islamo-Marxist. You know what an Islamo-Marxist is? I want to tell you because a lot of people don't understand this thing about Marxism being equal to Islam. Marxism is very simple to me, actually. Marxism is very simple to me. Marxism equals Islam. I'm not gonna get into the nitty-gritty, the substitute for what my article is gonna be and how specifically I'm gonna argue this, because I want it to be a surprise because it's actually unique and nobody's ever fucking done it before. But, you know, in any case, look. Karl Marx, I'm going to tell you the truth about Karl Marx. Karl Marx just took all of European philosophy. He took all of European philosophy and he basically said that shit is coping, useless nonsense. All we need are Turks with scimitars and swords to gallop their way into the world and just fucking bum rush that shit. That was basically what Marx was saying. Marx was basically saying, I shit you not. I mean, it sounds stupid in your head, but I'm telling you it's the truth. The truth is, Marx rejected a specifically European fixation on the need for mediation. That's the truth. Marx insisted upon a specific comprehension of what a material object is. When I say material object, I'm referring to the central subject of Marx's revolutionary project, which is simultaneously a type of being, a material being. What is the materiality? Like, what is that? What is the actual real thing as opposed to the abstractions of thought and the abstractions of ideality and so on and so on? Yes, Marx has a dialectical understanding of the material real and material being. But he has an understanding of material being that is already intrinsically lawful, dialectical, and in some sense rational. And so Marx, his entire gesture, in contradiction to the entire history of European philosophy and idealism, is that the highest gesture of thought and of philosophy and of thinking in general, of the thinking consciousness, and also the highest practical act is to give way to material necessity. Give way to something that already basically exists, right? That already is basically there. That already has the force, the momentum, the quality of self-relating recursivity, but is something that is being, you know, that's there in the real already, right? Tautologically, in a sense. Marx's maxim is submit. Give way and submit. Stop fucking coping. Stop building all these retarded castles of the ideal in your fucking head. Stop fucking coping about this arbitrarily contrived gatekeeping need for a mediation that doesn't need to be there. Just surrender and submit. Submit and surrender. Submit in Islam, I'll get into the etymology and the writing and stuff, what it actually means. Just surrender to the truth. Just accept the truth. The truth, in a sense, is obvious. Just surrender to it. Surrender to reality. Right? It's so simple. I'm not going to elaborate. But more or less, that's all Islam is. That's all it is. And Marx was a Muslim. He was a Muslim. Stop this coping. People are going to not understand what I'm saying. They're going to say, oh, you're just talking about being a retarded brute. Well, no, I'm just saying that Marx is a monotheist. Marx comprehends a radical simplicity of what man is materially. And however brilliant man is, however complex and brilliant and dialectical, it is still radically simple. And it's all rooted in good faith. It's all rooted in good faith. Now, there's a lot of glasses-wearing Marxoids, and there's a lot of Muslims that are not going to like what they read when I do release it. But it will all make sense, don't worry. But how do I like sum this up in a way that I can do on stream, right? How do I do this in a way that I can on stream? Sounds more Jewish to me. No, it's not, because you're just confusing that with Jewish fatalism, and it's not what I'm trying to say. No, it's not Jewish at all. Marx was straight up a Muslim. Actually, if you read the Jewish question, Marx straight up just says he's a Muslim without even knowing what Islam is. And I can literally tell you why. But I don't need sensitive people to get upset by it, okay? Because I'm just going to tell you what Marx thought, all right? Marx in the Jewish question basically said that in Western civilization, our sensibilities and our relationship to the material world was just based in Judaism and Jewish metaphysics, right? And that Judaism was the ultimate alienating existential condition in a way, right? Like, materially speaking, you know, Judaism posits a very alienated form of humanity, which doesn't hold humanity in much high esteem. And, you know, the materialism of the world, so to speak, is Jewish to Marx, like the materialism of capitalism and all that kind of stuff, right? And then Marx was saying that Christianity was the sublime thought of Judaism. He said Christianity was the thinking, the spiritual side of this original Judaism. But it just abstracted it into high heaven. It was very noble. It was very lofty. All this brotherhood, you know, whatever, morality, all this, the moral center. But that confined itself to an abstraction. So the universality of Christianity was the universality of an abstraction that was based in the division of mental labor of philosophers and ideologists who were preaching about heaven and preaching about, you know, high and mighty morals and all this kind of stuff. But that was not actually addressed to the actual real world, right? So the real world just remained Jewish, okay? And Marx more or less gets around to saying something along the lines of that communism will actually you know, restore the dignity of man to an existence of man worthy of the being of man, right? Something like that. I'm not going to quote him exactly with accuracy. But in any case, for Marx, Christianity and Judaism are two opposites. Judaism is this alienating materialism. Christianity is an alienating idealism, okay? Both are forms of alienation according to Karl Marx. Logically, if you think about it, though, logically the conclusion is that Islam is the way. Sorry, don't take it from me. The so-called material in Judaism contains the heavenly. In a very specific and limited sense, sure. I'm not going to get into the problems within Judaism, because I know it's complex, but from the standpoint of Christian society, Western Christian society, no. Standpoint of Western Christian society, Judaism is just materialism, right? That's all we need to agree on here. So, if you think about it, though, if you read Marx's Jewish question, the logical conclusion is that Islam is the way. The logical conclusion is that Islam is the actual thing that comprehends the immanence, the reality of the moral in the material. That doesn't posit a one-sided material substance, materiality, but simultaneously doesn't posit the abstraction and alienation of the idea, of the thought. Islam is a golden path in the middle. It's an Islamic saying that Moses was blind in his right eye and that Jesus was blind in his left eye. If it's heretical, whatever. This is an Islamic saying, but the idea was that, Jesus in Christianity is focused on heaven, it's focused on the spiritual. Judaism is focused on the material, and that Islam is seeing with both eyes, right? That's the idea. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you. According to Marx himself, I think it just alienates Christians from Marxism. Truth is truth. If it alienates you, I don't know what to tell you. Christianity is not rooted in idealism. I don't think it is, actually. I don't think it is, but I also think... I don't know why people are like... I just feel like I gotta pay tribute to every type of identity there is, and I'm just kind of sick of it. It's like, all right, it's like, what do you want me to say? Do I have to talk about all the fucking nuances, or shouldn't that just be fucking implied by everything I say already? Shouldn't it just be fucking implied that I'm talking about things in a very narrow, strict sense, and I'm not fucking discounting every fucking possible word in which the word Christianity could be used. I'm just using it in the sense Marx was talking about it in the Jewish question. That one article from fucking 200 years ago. But no, do I have to apologize to every sect and denomination of every fucking religion that I talk about in any fucking specific context? That is even remotely something beyond, yeah, whatever. It's like, look, guys, I think Marxism is Muslim. I think it is. I think Marxism is Islamic. I think it's Muslim. I'm not saying that to pander to any group. I don't think Muslims will accept this truth at all. But I just think it's the truth. That's actually what I think. I think Marxism is Islam. I reject Islam as the thing that's standard, like Saudi Arabia's, not just Wahhabism. I reject the standardized, established form of Islam that exists today. People who will hurl at me over all these rules and legalisms about Islam, it's like, dude, I'd rather just be an atheist than even look at you. I don't like Islamic LARP. I don't like the Saudi-created aesthetics that surround Islam, to be honest. I don't like the culture of how Islam is reconciled with the modern age. I think all of that was created by Saudi Arabia. But I like the simplicity of Islam, and the way Malcolm X did, probably. I like the simplicity. I like the oneness. I like the strict emphasis on revelation, on belief. And I like the absence of metaphysical mediation. That's what I like about Islam. You want to understand what I like about Islam? I like the absence of metaphysical mediation. Emilio, what's up? And by metaphysical mediation, I mean to say, I like the fact that you can just be exposed and accept the truth in your heart, and that's it. I like the fact that you don't need gibber babble. If I'm being honest, I like the fact you don't need gibber babble. Now, that's true for Christianity and most of its expressions. But I just feel like a lot of Christians who are online are always twisting themselves into a pretzel. Like, why can't you just say the Bible is communism? Just say it. The Bible is communism. Just say that. Emilio, what's up? Just say Jesus was communist. Just say the Bible is communist. Why are there so many times on the internet I see every time in infrared, a lot of the time, like everyone wants to be a fucking philosopher. I mean, I guess the Muslims in infrared are the same fucking way. I don't know. Everything is much more simple than fucking it's been made out to be. It's so much more simple. How can it, bro, I'm not going to read that. Just fuck off. How does that reconcile the absolute certainty of the Quran versus in Christianity, the metaphorical little... That's what I'm talking about. I'd rather just say Marxism is Islam. If you want me to say Marxism is Christianity, which I've said for my entire fucking time I've been on the internet. I'm not saying that anymore because you're fucking annoying me with gibber words. Okay, so I'm just going to say it's Islam. If we need Islam to be simple, we're just going to go with Islam. I was preceded by Christianity's dialectical materialism. But I don't have these distinctions that you have. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm annoyed. That's why I like Islam. I feel like Islam is the thing where I could just be like, I don't have to care about distinctions at all. Everything is the same thing to me. I don't have to fucking care about distinctions at all. I don't have to put Christianity here and Islam there and this and that there. Like, all that shit is the same thing to me. Just different words for the same thing. But what is the thing that we're talking about? If you can't be simple about how you talk about that thing, you're losing me. You're losing me. If you can't be simple about how you're talking about the thing, and that's why I'm clinging so much to Islam here, because Islam does allow me to simply refer to that thing very simply. Just say it's Islam. That's it. Allah, that's it. Simple. Be simple about it. What about Shia versus Sunni? Okay, if you're a Muslim scholar, you're just out here gibbering for sure. But I just feel like it's not hard to just take up a scimitar and be like, Allahu Akbar. Like, I feel like that's just easy. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's just like there's such a simplicity there. Yes, there's all these ways of interpreting whatever the fuck you want. But like at the end of the day, when you take an RPG, what are you yelling? Allahu Akbar, right? That's the type of shit that I'm talking about. Like that's why I'm leaning on it, you know? I'm just going to be fucking brutally honest with y'all. Like, it's about rising from the abstract to the concrete. Be concrete. Be concrete, right? Just always be concrete about things. If you're interested, I am not bothered by people saying that Jesus is God. I'm not bothered by people depicting Jesus. I'm not bothered by people who believe in the Trinity. I'm not bothered by that specific way of expressing the same fucking thing that I believe in, just in a different way. I'm not hostile to that at all. I'm not hostile to the cross. I'm not bothered by it. I see it as a different expression of the same thing that I believe. I really like some Christian symbols. I was actually thinking of making infrared merch based on the fish, but I was going to have it be 2 scimitars. I just, I kind of spoiled it, gave it away, but that would kind of go hard as fuck if you think about it. If you made it like powerful like that, like it's like militant, the fish, you like made it with those, I don't know. Haas, Christians have an identity crisis. The truth is the majority of IGG is Christian, so that's why I'd be like, there's a lot of babblers, but all the Muslims are also babblers. That's the truth. So there's too many babblers. There's too much schizobabble a lot of the time in general. There's too much walls of text. There's too much people who don't articulate themselves concretely and with concreteness. That's just the truth. It's got nothing to do with Christianity. It's just a problem of the infrared vision lacks the simplicity that it needs to have in order to fucking become giant. And people overthink trying to justify religion and communism. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's the truth. That's exactly what it is. There's an insecurity about the relationship of religion and communism. And you want to know the real reason I don't have that insecurity? I don't have that insecurity because I'm actually just a communist. But a real communist. Like, I want to go full Allahu Akbar every time I see these Reddit new atheists. I hate those people. They're literally disgusting kuffar. They're disgusting infidels. I fucking hate them. I actually hate them. But in my heart of hearts, it's like, there is nothing Stalin did that I'm going to be like, you shouldn't have done that. Like, if the Soviet state, if China are cracking down on religion, I'm not going to be like, it's like, yo, I'm with the party. Do you understand? I'm a communist. Like, I'm just telling you the truth. Like, I know where I am. I know where I stand. I know where I'm looking. I'm not bogged in metaphysics and gibber, any religion whatsoever. But I also am not secular. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm also not secular. I believe in this shit. I am a believing communist. I actually believe in this shit. I would catch bullets for this shit, for Lenin. I would literally tie myself to a missile for communism, for the cause, for Lenin, for the revolution. It's like, that's what I believe in. And I just disdain. Fuck it, I'm dropping a nuke right now. Oh, nobody's ready for this nuke. I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop it. You're not ready. You're not ready for the nuke. You're not ready. Well, religion in the technical sense, religion is a division of labor. How can you, if you think about it, religion is Reddit as well, because you're boxing something off. My religion is Marxist. My religion is like the revolution, the living existence. Yes, when I think of God, all these things make sense to me for sure. Religious practices also make sense to me, and rituals, I see the meaning behind them. They make sense to me. But if I'm being honest, people who have a distinction between the sacred and the secular are already in Reddit, if you have that distinction. Now, if you're trying to deny the sacred and only assert the secular, you're a fucking disgusting, retarded animal, and I hate you. But if you're pretending to hold close to the sacred without reconciling how you're also a secular person, I see you as a fucking hypocrite and a LARPer. So the truth is, the struggle is sacred. The revolution is sacred. The party is sacred. History is sacred. The reality we dwell in and occupy is sacred. And I don't like secularism. I don't mind communist atheism. And if you press me too far, if I get annoyed too much by religious LARPers, I'm just going to be a communist atheist. But this meme is necessary. This thing about Marxism being Islam is necessary. Because Marxism has been overrun by disgusting secular glasses wearers who are literally subhuman filth, and I fucking hate them. They're kafir. I fucking hate them. I hope they burn proverbially. These cynical Reddit pieces of shit. Oh, but Marx and Lenin. Lenin was more of a jihadi than anyone. He believed in that shit. You're not Lenin. Lenin believed in what he was doing. You don't have belief. Oh, but Lenin said to expel people who were doing religious rituals because they didn't believe enough in the cause. That's why. Not because he was a cynical fuck who was a nihilist like you and just fucking... Lenin was saying, why do you need to go to mosque or church? This is your church. This struggle right here. Here and now. That was the type of shit. That was the type of vibe Lenin was on. He was not a fucking guy like, religion's so stupid. Why don't we just fucking drink lemonade? Religion's just so dumb. I'm cynical. All these dumb goyim. That's not what Lenin's attitude was. He was a fanatical revolutionary and communist. He believed. He was a believer. He had faith in his heart. Same with Che Guevara and the rest. Do not fucking channel Lenin to justify your nihilistic fucking pussy world and life that your worthless, nihilist, pussy life of being a cynical, you're like Garfield. Oh, brother, all these people are stupid. I'm Garfield. They're like, fuck you. Fuck you. Do not channel Lenin when you're trying to talk about atheism. Because Lenin was about some real ass shit that you are not. You're a fucking Persian diaspora in a French cafe reading the newspaper about, oh, these stupid Iranian masses kicked me out. Oh, religion. Bro, you're a Zionist. You're in the citadels of Zionism. You need fucking Netanyahu's Iron Dome to protect you from the masses. You are out of touch. You're out of the game. You're out of the game. You're out of it. You're in a fucking cafe wearing a scarf. Pack it up. Stop the LARP. At one point, communism was going to take over the planet because people believed in it. You are an infidel. You don't fucking believe in anything. You're cynical and black-pilled. If you're cynical and black-pilled, you're out. Go be cynical and black-pilled by yourself. But at the minute you step into politics or anything relating to culture, you're Netanyahu. Oh, religion is... Dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're not attacking religion in the way that Lenin did. And like Lenin didn't attack it or whatever, but it's like the reason Lenin was an atheist was not for the same reason that you are. Lenin was an atheist because he was fully dedicated to the cause. You're not fully dedicated to any cause because you're cynical about it. Even communism, you laugh at it. For you, dialectical materialism is a meme. Lenin would nuke 25 countries in defense of dialectical materialism. He believed in it that strongly. Lenin would do, I'm not going to say this. There were Maoists in the last century who would have done 9/11 in defense of dialectical materialism. Instead of Al-Qaeda, you could have had Al Gonzalo or some shit. Right? Like they were fanatical. There was something there. It was just as like aggressive as a religion. You don't have that. You don't have the fucking equivalent of that. You are a faithless infidel, devoid of any cause, devoid of any belief, devoid of any purpose. There's no guiding star in your life. You don't lay it out. You don't fucking lay your life down for anything. You're a cynical Nietzschean last man consumer Reddit atheist. The meaning of Reddit atheist doesn't mean a Lenin who's strictly an atheist. A Reddit atheist is a nihilistic last man passive type of person who's just like, I watch porn all day and I don't have any purpose in my life. But yeah, this whole God thing is silly to me. This whole religion thing is like, dude, that's what you are. You're a Reddit atheist. It means you're a nihilist, consumerist subject. You're not Hezbollah. You're not Hamas. You're not any of these people that are actually revolutionaries. They're the revolutionaries today. Iran and its allies, they're the revolutionaries. You have a quirky coffee mug. While Iran leads the world revolution, you have a quirky coffee mug that makes fun of and degrades and defiles and blasphemes the image of Marx and Engels and Lenin. You post memes about Enver Hoxha, sexual memes about Enver Hoxha. You're not a atheist Marxist Leninist. You're just a fucking nihilistic liberal Redditor. So this meme needs to take off. We need to destroy Reddit New Atheism. Marxism is Islam. I don't want to ever hear any religious babbler in my ear about anything for the rest of my life. Ever. Because I don't fucking care about gibber. You want to gatekeep something? Go like leave me alone. I don't care. And it's like, okay, and then we have this guy. Islam directly and explicitly guarantees the right to private property and business. This is such like a Roblox argument. It's so like Roblox. It's like it just reminds me of Roblox, because the implication is just that like I've never thought of this. Like I could never have possibly considered this, right? It's like I just see it as like this is like a Roblox server theory of it's like, are you kidding? On the Roblox Wikipedia of Islam, it's totally different. It's like, yeah, I'm literally engaging in like a semiotic terrorism, and you're like sitting here like falling back on the fucking things I'm doing a full semiotic 9/11 to destroy. And it's like a Roblox, argument, straight up. I'm doing, yeah, it's like such a SpongeBob like Roblox argument. Like I'm straight up doing like a semiotic full frontal assault to destroy the various signifiers and webs of association people associate with these various different words, to have them think about them in different ways. And you're just falling back on these like strict distinctions and definitions, which I am asserting in the first place clearly do not mean much to me in the first place. I don't care about what people conventionally consider or think of Islam as. The only thing that matters in terms of what Islam actually is how it registers in our unconscious. And memes are more important than Wikipedia. That's the truth. Memes, this is what I believe in. I believe in a meme warfare on the British Oxford Encyclopedia, or whatever. What is it called? The main Webster's Encyclopedia? What is the Webster's Dictionary? What's the main encyclopedia people go to? I believe in memes overrunning and destroying all of that, because memes are more honest about what words actually mean versus this encyclopedic retard Reddit, the definition of XYZ. First of all, Islam directly and okay, let me call Islam and ask them, yo, Islam, what's up? Do you guarantee the right to private property and business? Oh, you don't? All right. No, actually, I just called Islam. They said they don't. What do you mean Islam? Who is Islam? What is Islam? Oh, you're talking about a specific jurisprudical, whatever, legal tradition in the religion. Okay. You mean based on a specific understanding of the revelation? Like, what are you talking about? You're talking about a specific interpretation that's been adapted to the modern world by Saudi Arabia. You want to know the worst part about this is, like, this is not true. This is not even true. Islam does not believe in any unalienable rights. The framework of modern rights did not exist in Islam. According to Islam, Allah owns everything. Everything is Allah, belongs to Allah. Islam, as a gesture of mercy, permits people to have custodianship over belongings, over things that they're using. That's not private property in the Greco-Roman legalistic framework or tradition of what private property is at all. Private property can be alienated freely. Private property, you have like absolute sovereignty and jurisdiction over it. You could do whatever you want with it. Private property is a specific institution. Private property doesn't mean you have things. And that's literally how the Quran describes property. Literally what you can have with your right hand, what you have in your right hand. That's how it describes property. Like, besides the fact this guy's arguing with a meme, it's not even true. In the Quran, there's no guarantee, there's no right to private property. There is a specific defense of people's belongings or businesses being protected against injustice, against, like, you know, a cruel kind of fucking thief just fucking taking it and oppressing and exploiting people. Amila. But, like, Islam does not respond to communism at all. Nowhere in the Quran is it talking about, is it being like, oh yeah, I've heard your argument, communist, but no, they're not even talking about that. They're talking about the various forms of injustice that existed when you take for granted the relations of production that prevailed at that time. You know, if someone's just robbing your caravans as a bandit, or if some kind of ruler is coming along and making it impossible for a guy who runs a fruit stand to make a living or something, Islam is addressing things like that. But is Islam addressing and preemptively rejecting something like, the development of the productive forces reaching such a level that money is no longer necessary, that the ownership of the means of production is, well, first of all, it doesn't even have to, because the ownership of the means of production being private is not only so alien to Islam, it's just alien to the Orient in general, to be honest. Most means of production are by default owned by the sovereign. We're talking about waterworks, we're talking about infrastructure. Even in a lot of cases, manufacturing was just directly owned by the sovereign. If you're talking about people owning camels and shit, it's like, well, that was the conditions that they lived in at that time. Does the Quran preemptively deny that people can have computers or something? The modern world looks very different. So Saudi Arabia, when it got all these oil revenues, standardized a specific interpretation of Islam and made that the fucking standard, rules of what Islam is throughout. I don't have to respect that at all. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't have to confine every sense in which I use the word Islam to the very narrow understanding that it prevails and is established. I clearly have very little respect for that. If I'm gonna make if I'm gonna take time to make a picture like this, think about this: a man who's gonna take the time to create an image like this is not beginning with a whole lot of respect for how words are conventionally defined. They're just not. Do you really think I care about how most people understand what Islam is or even what they think Marxism is? No, clearly I think the prevailing view people have on these things consciously is retarded. I'm trying to tap into something unconscious. It's clearly working because look, 100,000 views of people that are fucking, because I've tapped something. There's so much incoherent, retarded bullshit that's on X that nobody will respond to. But this shit is making waves because there is something about it that's true, which people do not have the conscious faculties of reason to clarify and understand. And that's just a fact. And that's just a fact. I'm sorry. I hate disappointing. I don't want to disappoint religious people. Some of y'all are like, Haas, why don't you say Marxism is Christianity? And it's like, I'm being harsh. Because the harsh truth is just not a good meme. Communism being Christian is a great meme. The word communism and Christianity, that's a great meme. But Marxism being Christian is not a good meme. Now, is Marxism Christian? Yes, it is. It is Christian. I mean, hello. Don't fucking think I'm a retard, okay? Hegel is a Christian philosopher. Hegel's logic was carried over into Marxism. Of course, Marxism is Christian. But that's not a good meme. That's not a good semiotic register. It doesn't function as well as a semiotic register as Marxism is Islam. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like this is a brutal nuke. I feel like this is something that can work. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. But I've been looking at the discourse in this fierce. If you look at the discourse, people are fiercely debating about Islam and Marxism, not Christianity and Marxism, Islam and Marxism. So by saying that they're the same thing, we are unlocking the mystical side of Marxism in general, I don't think communism is Jewish would ring because it's not true. Communism is not Jewish. The truth is, I'm going to say some shit as well. Judaism is either a sect of Judaism functions as a sect of whatever the prevailing Abrahamic religion is in the country that it's in. A lot of Jews are not going to like hearing that who are religious, but that's my observation. When Jews are in Islamic empires, Judaism is just a sect of Islam. When Jews are in Christian civilization, Judaism becomes a specific sect of Christianity. And that's because Judaism doesn't have a universal framework of civilization. Judaism is a tradition that's adapted to different civilizations, but it itself has no understanding of, it has no like universal dimension at all. Are you against Judaism theologically? No, but I think Judaism theologically creates confusions in the modern world that lead to very horrific things like Zionism. But provided there are kind of mystical Jews who can reconcile Jewish theology with the world that they live in, you know? But they're more mystical and they're very influenced by Sufism usually. And they're more they have very deep understanding of the spiritual whatever. But you know, there's no more Judaism theologically. It died in the year 30. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You mean like Derrida? Yeah, I kind of like Derrida. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of do like Derrida, actually. A little bit. Isn't that every religion in the modern world? Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong. But I don't like the lack of, can I just be honest? I don't like the lack of self-awareness. My problem with Judaism is when there's a lack of self-awareness. When Jewish atheists, including the ones who try to gatekeep Marxism, they have not made peace with religion. They have not. They think that, oh, I'm an atheist. You know, now I mastered the key to all. You don't understand the unconscious dimension of religion. If you're a Jewish atheist who has never inquired upon the mystical, you don't know what draws people to religion. Because the unconscious dimension of Judaism is based in a shared the covenant. That's what it is. That's why Judaism, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. You're still in the covenant, right? So that's the unconscious dimension. And many atheist Jews do not understand that other religions also have an unconscious dimension and an understanding of the sacred, but it's not rooted in a blood covenant. Kuzats. So why is that important? Why is that important? That leads to a lot of Jewish new atheists to be really disgustingly disrespectful of people's sacred beliefs. For them, the blood covenant of the Jewish people is unconsciously something very sacred. They have not overcome that by being atheists. They still believe in it. You know? So they haven't actually struggled with their own religion to the point where they can say they're true atheists. There is something they still unconsciously believe. But if you're a Christian or if you're a Muslim, the unconscious dimension of your religiosity is not based in something you can take for granted as I was descended, this is my blood covenant. Belief itself has an unconscious dimension. So when a Muslim or a Christian becomes an atheist, they actually have to struggle with every aspect of their religiosity, right? They have to they have to actually wrangle with the sacred. Many atheist Jews do not fucking do that. And it's an implicit type of Jewish supremacism. And it's not because they're maliciously evil. Sorry to say, it's because a lot of them are stupid. Like Bill Maher. A lot of arrogant, liberal Jewish atheists are fucking retarded. They don't reckon with the metaphysical, unconscious weight that they have carried over. They think, oh, I'm just an atheist. I don't believe in anything. You do fucking believe, though. You do believe in the chosen people thing. You do. Because the disproportion, the double standards that you have when it comes to Israel versus other things, the double standard you have when it comes to the Holocaust versus other atrocities, You do still have some deep religiosity you've never questioned in your life. If you're a Muslim atheist, every dimension of the sacred, you have to wrestle with that. So that's why I don't like a lot of these, and I'm going to say it, Jewish new atheist types that are trying to gatekeep the discourse in Marxism about religion, because they have not themselves confronted their own religiosity. It's easy to be a Jewish atheist because in the religion itself, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. You're not going to go to hell if you're part of the covenant or whatever, right? That's my I'm allowed to criticize anything I want. That's my criticism. But some mystical Jews who are self-aware about the belief side of the Jewish religion, who really understand the dimension of belief, they do respect the dimension of religiosity and actually understand what it is. Walter Benjamin was one of those people. I do like Walter Benjamin. I hate the Frankfurt School. But why do I hate the Frankfurt School? Because Walter Benjamin was the only one who actually explored Judaism as a religion. Adorno, Horkheimer, all of them were just kind of like, they were like these secular, they were LARPing. They're not being honest with themselves. Benjamin is looking into the Kabbalah, all this other kind of stuff. So Walter Benjamin is someone I like. They don't have a covenant. They're cursed to atone for it until the Messiah arrives.
Chungaloid added
Chungo,
5
what's
to
up
the
with the
war
5?
chest. Every day I feel more and more like a big fat Jewish chungus.
Look, guys, they don't have a tie to the covenant because it doesn't, you're being like too lost in the sauce here. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. It's like we do kind of, you're getting high off your own supply type of thing. It's like, look, it doesn't matter what you think. It's about what Jews actually believe. I am someone who, I'm a Stalinist. Stalin said, you don't offend the religious feelings of the people. I understand what religious people find sacred. I understand what the sacral is. What is the sacred? I can recognize that in people and understand what that is for them. What that means for you, it's not what it means for them. They're saying they're reconstructing our lineage retrospectively. It's not personal. You're wrong. Jews do believe in the covenant unconsciously. They do believe that there is something special about Jews. And that belief is even reinforced in the fact that Jewish people are so powerful and successful sometimes, right? Why are 92% of them Zionists? That you're confirming the argument yourself, because on an unconscious level, they believe in the covenant. They believe in the chosen people thing. And the Zionist narrative is very compelling for them. When the Zionists say, if you don't rally, the Jews have been, the story that they go, it's that the Jews have been persecuted and oppressed everywhere. Israel is the only protection the Jews will have. Without it, there's going to be another Holocaust. They tap into, let me ask you, you guys are so naive. You know how I'm a fucking brutal truth bomb? What a fucking nuclear correct understanding I have of the religious unconscious. Why did the Jews, the atheist secular Jews, why did they choose Palestine? They could have gone Madagascar. They could have gone South America. They could have gone somewhere in Africa. Why did they choose Palestine? They literally admitted it. Because however secular and atheist they were pretending to be, on an unconscious level, they did not reckon with the dimension of their own unconscious religiosity. And there was my problem with secular and atheist Judaism is that the way they pretend that they've somehow overcome religion, and then they create these self-fulfilling prophecies where all of the beliefs and superstitions and prejudices of the Jews become confirmed. And like, wow, I didn't know that. I was an atheist the whole time. It must be a miracle. It must be testament to the proof that Judaism is true. No, you set yourself up for a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you decided Palestine, you literally meticulously conspired to take Palestine. And then you have these secular Zionist Jews. They go, wow, of all the places, looks like we've gone back to the land of Israel. Maybe this is the promised land. You didn't fucking like walk your way into that on accident. You chose that because, do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's like they create self-fulfilling prophecies and then pretend the prophecy was fulfilled. And it's somehow proof of the mysterious truth of the Jewish religion. It's like, but you're just not being accountable or responsible for your actual faith in that religion. You're pretending you have no faith. You do have faith. You're just not willing to confront it in any kind of way. This is why I've never been in my life, even at the point when I was not a Marxist or left wing at all, when I was like 10 years old, I have never been sympathetic with the racial view of Jews, because you are buying in to a religious belief when you do that. When neo-Nazis and the right, when they say, oh, the Jews, Kevin McDonald, like they have a group psychology, there's a biological Darwinism. That's what Tel Aviv believes. They believe that. You are feeding into a delusion, in my opinion. But if it's, I won't call it a delusion if it's an actually upfront acknowledged belief. I will call it a delusion if we're going to pretend. I'm sick of the LARP. I'm sick of the secular atheist LARP from democratic socialists, Jewish democratic socialists, and Zionists and all these other kinds of atheist secular Jews, these new atheist types. It's like, look, it's a belief. It's a religious belief that you have. I have my religious beliefs. You have your religious beliefs. This is not reality. It's a belief, okay? Christians believe in what they believe. Jews believe in what they believe. Muslims believe what they believe. But it's rooted in belief. It's not a self-evident truth. It's rooted in belief. This is way because it's how you believe. That's the sacred dimension of your religiosity and your religious unconscious. It's rooted in your faith. Not rooted in the only group, I think, maybe I could be wrong, the only religion, I think, that pretends, that disguises its religious beliefs in the secular garb, I think it's Jewish. For example, Holocaust exceptionalism. That is rooted in religious belief. One I would be willing to respect if it's acknowledged as religious. But when we have to do hula hoops to pretend there's some kind of secular, rationalistic reason for why this event is uniquely the worst thing that's ever happened ever versus all the other atrocities, the genocide on the Indians, the genocide on other people, just admit there's a sacred dimension for you and that it's religious. I have no problem with that. I could respect that. I can't respect religious beliefs lying about what they are and to themselves and pretending it's fucking secular, because it's not. The truth is, take it from me, this is advice. I'm a Muslim who actually became an atheist for a long time. To wrestle with religious belief, truly confront the depths of your own unconscious internal religiosity is very, very hard. It's not easy. Any new atheist who kicks their feet up and goes, oh, religion is just a bunch of fairy tales, you're a fucking retard. You're not confronting what religion is at all. You're not confronting the dimension of actual faith at all. You're confronted, you're not even touching on religion. Religion is such a profoundly deep structure of the unconscious that you can be negligent and just kind of ignore it, but you need to be aware of how that influences you. You need to be aware of how that biases you maybe. And you need to be honest with yourself about, what do I actually believe? I am biased toward Shia Islam, and I'm upfront about that. I do believe it. I see it. I see how it, I mean, it makes sense to me, for sure. Something about it very much is like clear to me, right? Very lucidly clear to me. But sometimes people never question their faith. Sometimes people never think about their faith in reverse. Sometimes what people will do is they'll never actually think about what it means to hold a different religious belief than the one you have. Why? Because they lack the very vernacular. They lack the very experiential dynamism or whatever to think about what it would mean to believe something other than what they do, because they're not being honest about what they believe in the first place. They're pretending that they don't have any beliefs and that they're above having beliefs, but unconsciously you still have a belief and you're just not being upfront about it. The Christians do the same fucking thing, if I'm going to be honest. Now that I think of it, Christians do the same thing. I'm going to tell you guys something. I want you to think very carefully about something. When Christians oftentimes will say, I've been in the highest theoretical, I'm not going to like say this to brag, but I've been around people who are very up there in terms of like the theory, academy world, whatever. When it comes to like very, postmodern stuff, whatever. Supposedly the epitome of the most free-thinking cosmopolitan types. You want to know how many people end up with the conclusion like, oh my God, it's all Catholicism. Deleuze, the conclusion of like accelerationism, Deleuze, Guattari, Georgia Bataille. Oh my God, Heidegger. Oh my God. I think, guys, actually Catholicism might be the one and only true religion. Dude, all of the people you're talking about were Catholic by birth. Some of them went to fucking seminary school. They were born in a Catholic country and in a Catholic civilization. They were raised by Catholicism. They're from Catholic. Like, that's not an accident. It follows logically that in a roundabout way you can rediscover religion indirectly. But I'm sick of people pretending like that's a fucking miracle. If you live in a Christian country and you decide to become a fucking atheist and pursue any method of inquiry, then you have an epiphany because you realized in a roundabout way you've come back to Christianity. Well, maybe religion was deeper than you thought it was. Maybe it wasn't as fucking thin as some like, oh, I believe in a fairy tale in the sky. Maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe you just weren't considering how deep religion goes. And you're pretending like it's a fucking miracle that you've come full circle when it's not. You just never actually fucking reckoned with the depths of your own religious unconscious. I might be the only fucking atheist in the world, if I'm going to be honest, because I'm the only one who will acknowledge a religious unconscious. And the ability to acknowledge a religious unconscious means the ability to discriminate and say, maybe this is wrong or maybe this is right. But just because I have a religious unconscious doesn't mean my religion is true. You can't just evaluate the truth of religion at the conscious level. You have to reckon with the meaning on an unconscious level. And I don't see enough people who do that. I see too many people who have never actually struggled with their faith in their life pretend that, oh my God, all my life was an atheist, but I found something. You didn't find anything. You took your culture for granted. You took your civilization for granted. Or you took your own unconscious beliefs for granted. Like, religion is much deeper. It's much deeper than people think it is. That's what I'm trying to say. It's much deeper than people think it is. Children should be, it's not possible to be free from belief. I disagree with you. I think the dimension of religiosity, the religious unconscious, is a fundamental part of what a human being is. And I will not confidently claim, I will never confidently assert and say Christianity is false, Islam is correct. I can't say that. The religious unconscious architecture of the nation that I'm in is Christian. Even if I believe in Islam, there has to be a reason for why this architecture is Christian. Now, on a superficial level, telling people to renounce their beliefs doesn't mean they're actually renouncing their beliefs. You're not even engaging with their beliefs. You're not even understanding religion on the terms of religion. You're understanding religion on the terms of some other kind of discourse, right? I can never look at a religion and say, you have nothing. I can maybe look at a religion and say, you have confusion, and fuck it, I will say it. I think what we call Hinduism, I think a lot of that is confusion. Hindus will protest at me and say, Haz, there's depth, and there's depth in the Hindu religion. There's depth. Yes, of course there's profound depth in the Vedas and so on and so on. But how can we talk about a Hindu religion when in India itself you have 1 million different sects, all worshiping different idols and temples? And I saw there was a rat one. Where is the center? Where is this? There's no unified Hindu religion. There's no such thing. So it's a series of discombobulations, in my opinion, right? China, it's the same thing. China. Is it a coincidence China's a Confucian civilization? Of course not. Oh, it's just a miracle Confucianism came back to China? No. Because even if they burned all these statues and stuff in the Mao era, and if they loudly denounce Confucius all they want, you haven't breached the bedrock of the religious unconscious. That is Confucianism. So that's why Stalin told Hoxha, he said, never offend the religious beliefs of the people. They're much deeper than you think. And Stalin was speaking from experience when he said that. He wasn't saying that because he has a soft spot for religious institutions. He was speaking from experience. He said, look, it's much deeper than we thought it was. It's much deeper. If there's anything we've learned from Marxism, just take away that religion is much deeper than what you might assume it is. It goes much deeper. Something is much more there, you know? And even as Dugin said, even in the Soviet period, at the high point of the League of Militant Atheism, when they blew up the Church of the Christ the Savior, I think they were doing stuff like that. Dugin, he candidly observes, he says, but this is actually part of the Orthodox tradition of the old believers and stuff. It's very deep roots, actually, of this purifying fire, this rebirth, destroying the corruption as an actual act of faith. It's like, you may think that you're waging a war on religion, but all you're doing in a roundabout way is reproducing or partaking in the religious unconscious. Still. Enver, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Enver Hoxha, was Enver Hoxha an atheist? Okay. Confessionally, he was an atheist. But look at Enver Hoxha's comprehension of Marxism-Leninism. It is a purely moral one. It's purely moral. Enver Hoxha had not 1% of pragmatism in his body. He cut off the Soviets, then he cut off China. For him, Marxism-Leninism was a pure belief, and nothing else. Pure moral North Star, pure moral. He could renounce everything in the world. He renounces the world. He renounces pragmatism. He renounces everything in devotion to one thing, right? Marxism, the correct principled line of Marxism-Leninism. Now, confessionally speaking, that's quite atheist. That's quite materialist. But, okay, think about it deeper, though. Just think about what's going on. Is it really atheist or even materialist in the conventional sense? Isn't that something profoundly spiritual, actually? And how can you look at that and not see Hoxha's own background, his family, tribal, ancestral background bleeding through that? Because Hoxha was a Bektashi Sufi Shia. It makes so much sense that Hoxha was a Sufi. This is a classical Sufi asceticism. Hoxha's uprightness of Marxism-Leninism, even regardless of the consequences, this is Sufi asceticism. This is Bektashi Sufi. This is like a Bektashi Janissary rebelling against Constantinople and planting their flag and saying, for Allah, I'm going to die right here. It's like, okay, you can use different words. You could say it's Marxism-Leninism. You could say it's the correct principled line. But you're reproducing a very specific religious unconscious structure, which is very clear to me. Muslims have a cannibalistic turtle mosque in Bangladesh. It's the turtles who are eating each other? Because I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. If they're letting turtles eat each other, it's like, that's the turtles' problem. It's not a good example. Best of mine. Not a good example. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Guys, now you're seeing it. Okay, Cambodia with Pol Pot. You're telling me Pol Pot in year 0 isn't Buddhism? You must not know anything about Buddhism. You're telling me Pol Pot, oh, they eat humans. Oh, that's not good. But you're telling me Pol Pot wasn't a Buddhist? You're telling me Pol Pot wasn't a Buddhist? What about DPRK? You have to study the Korean traditional folk religion, whatever it is. You have to study it. For example, Mount Paektu, it has a profound, I think, spiritual significance for them. So we have to think maybe in a materialist way. What's the source of the religious unconscious? I think that this is a fundamental quality of the human, that we have to think of the religious unconscious. Maybe it's not a structure, it's a pattern of some kind, which is preeminent and which precedes the emergence of a rational subject. And there's no way to eliminate it. There's no way to get rid of it. There's no way to be free of it. Everyone believes in something, even if they deny it to themselves. Like, let me tell you something. Do you know how many Muslim atheists don't eat pork? There's so many Muslims who become atheists, but they won't touch pork. Why? I think Zizek used to use the example of the Jew who doesn't eat pork for this. But it's true, you know? That's why when I meet Muslims I've met Muslims that eat pork, and I just fucking look at them like they're fucking aliens from another planet. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? When I meet Muslims who eat pork, I literally like, that side eye is so crazy. Like, you do something that changes how I look at you forever. I'm like, But what the fuck are you doing? I told you they don't have reason. No, yeah, I don't care about reason. That's the thing. Religion has nothing to do with reason. You know, you can't have pork if you're a Muslim. You can't do it. That's the one thing you can't do. There's no Sufi in history who had pork. Even bacon? No. You can't. It's like alcohol, other thing, whatever, you know, you turn a blind eye. Pork? It's just a stereotype. No, it's real. We don't give a fuck about pork. Who are you talking about, though? Are you Muslim? If you are a Muslim and you're saying you're okay with pork, I'm like, you're a Muslim. Yeah, bro. Where the fuck are you from? Where are you from? What country? Did Sufis have wine? Yeah, wine is like Turkey. What? Oh, I mean, bro, I feel like you're trying too hard. It's like you're trying to be like, you're trying to just tell Europeans that it's okay, that you're one of them. That must be it. You're just trying to prove how secular and European you are. I get it. The pork line is like crazy. Christianity was always dialectical materialist. But that, you see, my problem with you, IA, when you say that, is that you're saying something superfluous. Where do you think dialectical materialism came from? It's not a miracle that Christianity is dialectical materialist. It's self-evident. It's like, it's a truism to me. That's what I mean to say. It's a truism. It's a truism. It's just a truism. Of course it is. Where did dialectics even come from? The whole Hegelian dialectics is a way of expounding the Christian Trinity into the form of thought and consciousness. The dialectical logic, Christianity is an expression of dialectical logic. Keep reading. No, I mean, I agree with you, but it's like, it's not. Aristotelian and Platonic metaphysics by the ruling aristocracy. That's the origin of the Greco-Roman. That's the concept Marx was working from. I 1000% agree with you, dude. I didn't even talk about differences in Christianity. Marx was from Prussia. He's from Prussia, okay? He's writing in the context of not only Western Christianity, but yes, a Christianity that was shaped. You're not going to find an objection from me. The only reason I'm a little upset sometimes is just like, give me the good faith that you understand that I already agree with that. Like, I'm taking that for granted. I fully agree, though. Fully agree.